Hello everyone, I am NeoXenoc, and this is my Let's Play of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Thank you for joining me. I have a very long history with this game. It came with one of my first computers that I ever owned. It's changed quite a bit since then, and ever since buying Enhanced Edition on Steam, I thought this would be a good start to doing Let's Plays on YouTube for fun. And I hope you have as much fun watching to me and listening to me as I do playing it and talking. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Come on. There we are. So, yes. Generally speaking, I'm going to try to assume that you who have not played this game before, and if you are considering playing it, I'll give you a few tips that I can. This will not be an out-and-out tutorial or anything, but I'll just try to give a few pointers here and there. Man, what an intro. In the older version, the whole thing used to be awkward and computer generated using the best of 1980s computer graphics. You know, in a 1998 game. But yeah, the original version of this was spread across, what was it, like 5 or 6 CDs or something like that? I don't even remember. The one I actually had came in a DVD, actually. And it was even awkward just switching between that and the Tales of the Sword Coast expansion, which is folded into this game. So, excuse me, I just ate, so I might be expelling any number of gases here. Anyway, so yeah, the original version was very different. A lot of the enhancements in this game actually came with the sequel to it, and they've improved it even further for this, and even more for the sequel, which is this one right here. I might do Black Pits, maybe. I don't know. I found Black Pits I think it would be kind of boring, at least since it doesn't really have a story. It's just fight after fight. You're basically playing a gladiator or something. I actually used it quite a bit to test the party I generated for this game. Now, generally speaking, the best way to play this game, there is no real best way to play this game, but generally you'll get the most out of this game if you generate a single... Oh, we'll get started here. Right, so there's no individual... You create the protagonists of the story, which many of the articles tend to refer to as the Gorian's Ward, which will, be explained in a moment, but I'll just call it the protagonist, or something like that. One thing they added for Enhanced Edition is the ability to create a party, which you could only do in the original versions if you rejiggered the multiplayer system and just took control of all of the characters. You can, this game is based off of the Dungeons and Dragons rules of the 2nd edition. And, excuse me, where was I going? Right, so the game rules are based off of the 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons rules. You create your main character, and once you have your protagonist created, you can go off into the world of this game, and this game is very non-linear, and then you can pick up non-player characters. There are more than a dozen of those. I think about 2 dozen. I don't know. I never actually sat down and counted it. But anyway, there are a bunch of them depending on the type of character that you created. You know, whether he's a good person, whether he's a bad person, whether he's a fighter, whether he's a wizard. You know, you can... No matter how overpowered or underpowered you or your party is, nothing will determine your success in this game more than your ability to actually take what you have and make good use of it. So, even if you have a terribly underpowered group of characters and you've made nothing but bad choices in terms of just optimizing your group, you can do very well if you're very smart in this game about how you do things. Generally because I want to, if you're watching this and you haven't played this game, I want you, generally speaking, to have a better experience. So I'm creating a whole party and ignoring the NPCs they can get, even though I'll be following along with the main story. I won't be following all of the side quests. This isn't like I'm not doing a complete completionist go through this game. I'm just kind of going through and doing my own thing and just, you know, doing whatever I think I want to do. And if you decide to go and play this game after watching this, then you'll have a much better experience, I think, if you can pick up the non-player characters who will have their own interactions with you. There are some romance options in this game, and much more in the sequel, Baldur's Gate 2. I don't know about the Siege of Dragonspear expansion to this. I haven't played Siege of Dragonspear, by the way, so if I complete this game and I get to that, then that will be a completely blind playthrough. And so yeah, you'll just get a much more complete experience. So that way you can, you know, watch this and you won't be losing too much with the story. But the story is really great itself. The game itself is fairly non-linear, and there are many ways to just sort of immerse yourself into the experience of this game once you get started, just by just reading the material, by interacting with non-player characters, and just kind of wandering off and doing your own thing. There are a lot of ways you can go, and you can tell, and yeah, this was one of BioWare's first real... I don't know how successful BioWare was before this, but you can definitely see how, if you haven't played the Baldur's Gate series of games, you can see how them making these games has affected all of the other games that they made to follow. So let's I'll do a quick character creation as my general suggestions for your first character. I'll have mine be male, but you can be male or female. You get all these portraits. I have my own portraits for my NPCs. You can import your portraits and the the sound set for your character if you want. I didn't do that though. Sure, we'll take that chappy fellow. Yeah, you get your standard complement of fantasy races here. He'll be gnomish, just because. Yeah, they all have their benefits and drawbacks, and this is a sample of the classes you can be. Actually, let me go back and pick human. Humans have the best choices of character classes. They can only select single character classes instead of these jaunty multi-classes that the other classes get, but I'll explain that in a minute. But anyway, you have your main professions here. You have your fighting types, healer types, healer/priestly types here. The monk counts as a priestly type too, but it's not. It doesn't have magic and can't heal people. Shaman actually counts as well. So yeah, shaman, druid, and cleric, your priestly types. Mage and sorcerers are your Gandalf-y, Dumbledore, Harry Potter types that use arcane magic. Bards can use arcane magic too, but I generally count those as a thief type. But bards are actually sort of jack of all trades. They can do a little bit of everything. They can do some things well, just not what you might expect. Then you have thieves. The least appreciated, most useful class, I think. They're super duper abundant in Baldur's Gate 1. Fairly rare, I think, in Baldur's Gate 2. So, if you plan on playing Baldur's Gate 2, it's not a bad choice to be one. But if it's your first time playing, you can find any party members of any class in Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and anywhere. If you're not certain what you want to pick and don't want to do too much reading into it, you can't go wrong as a fighter. Each class also offers a variety of kits that change the... fighters grant all of these features right here, and these other classes right here take advantage of these. They either add features and take others away. The Barbarian here, for example, makes you immune to backstab. They can move faster, and but they're not. And they get the Rage ability. They get some additional resistance to damage types from swords and weapons and things like that. And they get more hit points than the other classes. However, they take away their ability to use the best armor in the game, and they're not quite as good with their weapons individually. All the classes sort of do things like that. All these kits sort of do things like that to varying extents. Some are better than others. But honestly, like I said, you can't really go wrong with any of the standard classes. You don't have to pick a kit. Dual classing and multi-classing. What dual classing is is a thing only humans can do. What that means is that they, at level 2 and any level after, they can choose to stop leveling up in that class. They just stop gaining experience points. Then you pick another class. You start over in that class. And once your level in your new class exceeds the levels in your old class, you get all of the abilities of both. And generally speaking, it tends to be considered the better option because you have just for two reasons. One, you can sort of optimize. You can choose how many levels you have between each class, which can be advantageous in its own right. You don't have to level up in both. You can just sort of gain benefits in one and then duel out of it quickly. You can gain more benefits out of it by staying in the first class for longer and then dual classing at a later time. The disadvantage of doing this, though, is that you don't get the advantages of both all the time, which is what multi-classing does. But I'll get into that in a minute. It's generally considered more powerful to dual class than multi-class overall, just because you can dual class out of a kit, which you cannot have a kit in a multi-class, and I'll get into multi-classing real quick right here. Half-elves have the best choices of multi-classes. So yeah, multi-classes is basically you get the benefits of both classes, and the experience points is always split evenly between the two classes here. And you can even have these triple multi-classes here, but honestly, unlike in games like Final Fantasy or a lot of other RPGs, you don't have a maximum level. You have a maximum amount of experience points that you can gain. And for a bunch of classes, that stops you at level 40 when you're done with the entire Baldur's Gate series at 8 million experience points. Some classes, however, level up slower than others, and these multi-classes split that experience between the two classes, which means that you reach your maximum level much sooner than you would with the other classes. Your multi-classes are also limited to these exact classes. No kits. The only race that can multi-class as a kit are gnomes, which is the Illusionist here. Illusionist is a mage kit. And they can they can only select Illusionist, but you can be an fighter Illusionist or a cleric Illusionist, which is great because there are many advantages. Illusionists are a great kit, by the way. I really like it, and I really like gnomish cleric Illusionists. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so most of these classes can... when dual classing, you can only select the classes that you can normally valid for multi-class. So you can be a fighter, So you also cannot dual class into another class that has a kit. I mean, with a kit. For example, you can be a Kensai and then dual class into a mage, but you cannot be a Kensai and dual class into an illusionist, nor can you be a fighter and then dual class into an illusionist. But you can be a Kensai dual class into a mage, and as you saw, there were no sorcerers as a part of a multi-class. So sorcerers cannot be multi-class, dual class out of or into. So anyway, yeah, it's a bit complicated, but it can be worthwhile if you're more of a veteran in this game. If this is your first time playing it, though, just pick your class that you want and stick with that through the end. Once you get more used to the game mechanics and things, you might be able to replay it or start over with something different. If you really want to start it off, though, there's, do it to your heart's content. But if I were to make a recommendation for your first time through, fighter. You can't go wrong with it. So, yeah, we'll do that. You can also pick your alignment here. This just sort of generally says just what kind of... what your alignment is just sort of a springboard as to saying what kind of character you have. A lot of people who play Dungeons & Dragons sort of deride it as unnecessary or clunky, but it's just sort of a hard and fast way of just making a very general assumption as to when you're playing. It matters less for a game because you might be able to make general assumptions, and you could pick any alignment and make any choices you want in the game. But playing Dungeons & Dragons, it's like a starting point as to what kind of character you are. And it's actually a very good way to just sort of getting an idea of what kind of person that you're role-playing as. And you can do however level of that in this game as you want. Let's pick True Neutral. True Neutral is just sort of, that's the alignment you want to pick if you're not sure what else to pick. You can sort of go any way with that. And these are your abilities. Now, you'll notice that when I start creating my party, I've pre-generated all of the characters that I'll be using in this game already. They're all done because of, if I actually generated the characters on this recording right here, this would be a 48-hour video, I'm sure. I don't know what it would be once I spliced it all together, but it took me several days to actually create the characters, and a lot of it was just hitting the reroll button here. Now, 75 points, the game will not allow you to have fewer than 75 points in a roll. And each ability score has certain minimums that you need. For fighters, generally speaking, you want high strength and constitution. Your other choices here matter less. Let's see. Yeah, strength is basically your ability to, hit and do damage. Dexterity matters for ranged weapons and certain defenses. Constitution for hit points, and your ability to basically not permanently die once you're, if you're killed. There are two ways you can die in this game. One way means you can be resurrected. Another way means you are gone forever. So let me start taking away points here, and I'll get to that. Intelligence only really matters if you're a mage. It's sort of your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma all matter in terms of for magic classes like wizards and clerics. They also matter as far as getting or losing dialogue options when talking to non-player characters. So, for example, if you have all threes in these, you are going to have absolutely the worst time talking to people. You're going to get into fights more often. People aren't going to get you what you want. It's going to make your life a lot harder. So, when you choose a party leader, that is, you'll have a slider here that shows you the portraits of all the characters in your particular party. Whoever's at the top is the party leader. And that is generally the person who will do the most talking, elicit the most reactions. You want the character with the highest charisma in that position. it does not have to be the protagonist. So you could have the lowest charisma and just have someone, and just choose someone else to be the party leader. It does not make a difference as far as the story options. You know, as far as the actual story of the movie, the game. Once the story starts happening, it'll always happen to your protagonist, pretty much regardless of who is actually leading the party. But for the sake of this game, let's, for this little example, I'll just, do things this way. This means you won't get as many hit points as certain other classes, but, you know, it doesn't matter that much. So, this I recommend is your setup if you're going to be the party leader. If you're not going to be the party leader, you can... Yeah. You'll need the person with the highest charisma in the actual leadership position. Otherwise, just do this. Or even... this. Or something like that. Your scores down here don't matter as much. I recommend you put your 7 in Wisdom if you're a fighter, just for whatever. Yeah, so we're fine with this. This is actually going to be a pretty solid fighter. You can actually reroll to get higher stats or something like that, so if you do get extra points, you know, Dexterity and Constitution will be your best one if you're a fighter. Other classes will have other benefits to other things, but... Yeah, so... For my recommendation fighter here, you can select whether you want a two-handed weapon. Two-handed weapons do more damage but take away some of your defense. Sword and shield is where you go if you want, you know, a shield in one hand and a weapon in the other. You'll have a good armor class in the game, and having a good armor class is important if you don't want to get hit by things. Single weapon style, I wouldn't really recommend this for a main fighter. This tends to be better for other classes, but one thing I don't particularly know is if this would be good for throwing weapons and maybe certain ranged weapons. It's not a bad weapon style. It gives you good benefits, but not compared to these. Two weapon style if you want a weapon in each hand. So, given this is your first time, I would recommend just sort of going a more well-rounded route as far as your character choices. So we can go sword and shield style and maximize your defense. You should put a dot in one of these: crossbow, longbow, or short bow. With an 18 strength, you might actually do well going with a longbow, but only since this character is focused more on melee fighting. If this character was more of a ranged fighter, I would have put the 16 from Constitution into Dexterity. After that, I would recommend two of these weapons here. A Bastard Sword is a good weapon. Bastard Sword, a long sword is also a good choice. Excuse me. An axe is a good choice. Warhammers are a good choice. In fact, we will select the Warhammer. Warhammers are good weapons. You can also select a two-handed weapon. Two-handed weapons are halberds, quarterstaffs. Where are they? Two-handed sword, and there's one more around here. Spear. Those weapons take two hands, so you can't have anything in your second, whether it's a shield, a second weapon, or anything like that. So, actually, instead of Warhammer, we'll go for quarterstaff. Yeah, this gives us a variety of types of weapon damage as well. So if you fight a creature that is immune to the slashing damage that a Bastard Sword does, you can hit them with the crushing or bludgeoning damage of a quarterstaff, or the piercing or missile damage of a longbow. Now, fighters can put more than one dots in these. In fact, they can eventually get up to 5 in every one of these. So, but I recommend getting a variety of weapons at the start, just because it will help you fight early on, and then you can start putting more dots in the game as you level up, just in whatever weapon or weapons that you want. So after this, you just design your appearance, give your character give your character a sound set, decide a name, and then you're done. And then you can write your biography here if you so chose to do so. So yeah, that is character generation in a nutshell. And I will not be doing that. I guess that happens whenever I talk too much. Anyway, so yes. So in designing a party, I not only tried to choose powerful characters individually, but emphasized them working best as a group. Now, generally speaking, it's generally more powerful for a character to be dual class, and there are some multi-class combinations that are quite powerful. My favorites for multi-classing are Fighter Thief and Cleric Illusionist or Cleric Mage. I also do like Ranger Cleric too. In fact, the next time I play this game solo, I'm going to play a Stalker Cleric Human. Actually, really good. I'll even show them to you because I designed all 6 of my party members and my solo character Delphin all at the same time. Because originally I was going to have Delphin be a character because I wanted to include a powerful dual class in the group. I was also thinking of having a gnomish cleric illusionist in the group, and things of that nature. But I wanted the party to be consistently powerful from the start of the game all the way to the end, because the problem with Delphin and the way that I had him, he would have, there are 4 games in the Baldur's Gate series, and I did not want the group to be redundant in their powers. In other words, I didn't want 2 or 3, clerics and druids in the party and 2 mages and things like that. I did kind of make an exception for the warrior types because I do have a paladin and a ranger in the party, but only because they fill 2 very different roles in the party, and that's just not something that is very possible. I think with the they're not as different as 2 different mages. It's not as easy to make 2 different mages or 2 different clerics or 2 different druids or even a cleric and a druid in the same party and have them be different enough to justify having them. So, having Delphin in the group would have meant that I wouldn't have had a cleric for Baldur's Gate 1, for Siege of Dragonspear, and half of Baldur's Gate 2. The only way I would have been able to have him at what I wanted was if I dual-classed him out early in this game, and I still would have spent half of this game without a cleric, and that is too long to have without a divine caster, even despite some of the mitigating factors that this game offers. With potions and certain story-based rewards that you get in the game. And so I had to take Delphin out and I replaced him with a standard cleric. I wanted to have a cleric illusionist in the party too, especially because I had a bard in the party to make up for the fact that, I had a gimped wizard. And I wouldn't have had Delphin and the Cleric Illusionist in the party at the same time as sort of an either-or proposition there. But ultimately would have created problems because, one, the leveling up would have been gimped even early on in this game. And it would have been... And I could have gone all the way to the end of the final chapter of the entire Baldur's Gate series without accessing some of my most powerful abilities as a mage with a cleric illusionist. And don't get me wrong, I really like that class, but I've actually used it in a party before. I played it all the way to the end of the Throne of Bhaal, which is the final chapter, and I still didn't have 9th level spells in that particular group. I had to rely on scrolls and 8th level spells and lower. Although you do get high level cleric spells well before then, so if anything, it should be considered like a cleric with bonus mage abilities. And yeah, you need to have that and a mage in the group in order for it to be useful. And the reason why I had it in that original class setup of classes before is because I also had a sorcerer in the party. And no bards. So anyway, Jotar is not only going to be a good party leader and protagonist, not only a good protagonist, a great warrior, but also a great leader. Actually, he's great at everything because I rolled ridiculously high for him. I actually rolled just as high for Finoa, but it took me way longer to get her stats than it did for Jotar's. Way longer. His was actually the shortest out of all 6 of them. Well, 7. Delphin did well too, but actually made his character like a couple times. It took me a long time to get him the way I wanted. So, yeah. His ability scores are very high. He is a Cavalier, which is a kit of the Paladin class. He's able to use axes because Cavaliers can't use ranged weapons. At least not your traditional missile weapons like bows, crossbows, and all that. They can't put any dots into them at all. So I have him proficient in axes, so he'll be able to use ranged weapons. But mostly he'll be using two-handed weapons, as you can see. So there's a bug in this game that affects the protagonist of this group, and I'll go over that in a moment.
Onward! I feel this. I will require. I should be more productive with my time.
He sounds like a default. Anyway, and that's Jotar. I sort of imagine him like, yeah, I also created biographies for all of them. I will go over them briefly, and you can pause the video and move, look through it at your leisure. But yeah, I copy-pasted because it becomes problematic with... Excuse me, because it's problematic with... There's a problem that erases my biography and once I get the game started, and I have no idea why it puts those there, but whatever. It actually... Yeah, okay. And I'll show you that. You can see it sort of glitch out. Here is... Yeah, it wasn't difficult to choose to have Jotar in the party. He was sort of having a paladin be the party leader. I knew I wanted to make like a good aligned group right at the very start, but I knew that it was yeah. So you can see it glitched because it changed my portrait and Romank. Yeah. He has a pretty good set. His wisdom is as high as a halfling's can be. He's also proficient in warhammers and slings. And because he's a halfling, he gets a bonus with slings, and so he's pretty mean with, despite, it being a sling. Which is like basically it's a better version of a, what do they call those? I think it is actually just called a sling. Anyway, yeah, it's fairly decent, but not great. It'll be more useful for him at this level, but once he gets more powerful, he'll be relying more on his spells than anything, as he should. He is very earnest.
Pure life. I alone belong.
Yep, and he is Romank. Here's his biography. You wish to look at that. And that's him. In a pinch, he can also make a good secondary party leader. Everyone in this party has a high charisma. The lowest one is a 15. Everyone else is higher. There's 2 of them that have a 15, 2 of them that have the 16, 1 that has a 17, and then Jotar has his 18 there. Here is Fanoa, Jotar's wife. I thought it would be fun just for grins that since as a party I won't be able to take advantage of any of the romance options available in any of these games, so I just decided to make him a married man. And yeah, Fanoa is the party archer. She is, just as much. She is. Although ranges are considered, in the same type of fighting class as fighters and paladins, she's an archer, as you can see. So she's best with her ranged weapons. She's not very good at melee. Although having her high strength here, she is pretty good at it. But she's not as good as any of the main fighters because she can only put 1 point in any melee weapon. Whereas even the others can put at least 2, and fighters can put as many as 5 in there. But mostly in this group, because she has the hide and move silently skills. Her role in the group is as the party scout, because even though I have a thief in the party that would normally cover that role, this allows me to focus her in this game toward finding and springing traps, unlocking doors and chests, and so I don't have to put any points in any sneaking skills, especially because she can't even backstab anyway because she's a swashbuckler. So yeah, she's not as good as having a stalker, but she's, I wanted her because I wanted someone to be good at ranged weapons more than I wanted someone to be good at, as good as a stalker at actually stalking. So yeah. She is just as physically perfect as an elf can be, in more ways than one. She is commanding!
Go, go, go! Everybody listen to me now.
Because she is a strong, battle-hardened elf, and much older than Jotar, so she is definitely a cougar, even though she's probably about the same age equivalently. So yeah, a reason that she probably taught him from a young age, probably the one who initially taught him to fight to begin with, and taught him a lot about the outside world and social graces, and like many stories do, the student eventually marries the teacher. So yeah, and that is Fanoa. So yes, these three here is basically where all of the party's primary hitting and killing power is. Although my next one is good at it too, and she'll eventually be included, but she's not very good at it at low levels. By the way, if you're still not sure that you want to create any of those characters that I did, all of these are perfectly reasonable. In fact, a lot of them are probably even better than the character I did end up creating. But, the one I created was pretty much this one right here. But I digress. Anyway, Thwanya. She is relaxed for a dwarf.
You don't stand a chance. Oh, this is such an honor.
Yep. Yeah, so as you can see, see, she is very good at opening locks, which is important for, my little brief run through of the tutorial area of Baldur's Gate, even though there's... So, yeah. And if you haven't played this game before, definitely run through the tutorial area first, and there's more things you can learn in this prologue area, I should say, of the actual game itself. So, yeah. Anyway, she has open locks right now. Pretty much from now on, though, I'm going to just get this one right here as high as humanly possible. That's the first score I want to be as high. Set traps is also useful for later, but, we'll go over that. She'll be able to get everything, because thieves level up very, very fast. Her name is Thwanya. She is able to use daggers and short bows. So, yeah. One of the ways in which I made this party more of a... better able to sort of congeal in all their skills is by having all of them with completely different proficiencies and weapon styles as possible. Jotar, for example, is all about the two-handed weapons. Vanoa and Thwania are all about two-handed weapons, or, I mean, having a weapon in each hand and ranged combat. But yeah, everyone has a different ranged weapon. Everyone is going to have different weapons that they'll eventually be proficient with. There's a range of proficiencies with armor as well, because him can use all the armors and shields in the game. Even though he won't be using shields, he'll be using the heaviest shields. So these two will be using light armor, and these two will be using no armor at all. Actually, he can. The next one can use armor. He's just not that good with it. At least not until he finds very certain specific kinds of armor, or knows how to really juggle his normal armor as well. Anyway, and this is my Skald, a very surprisingly scholarly person for a person who screams, you know, war chants. Or whatever it is that Skalds do.
Feel my power.
What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, him and his
Let's give them a right thrash.
him and his sister, who is the next one, are both the scholarly types. And that's the backstory. And yeah, one of the things I give up with I also chose a bard because they can get the pickpocket skill. Those Skalds are terrible at it and won't be any good at it at any point in time. So I will not be... Pickpocketing was pretty much the one thing I wasn't able to somehow fit in here without choosing a different type of bard. I suppose I could have picked Jester or the Blade. The Blades are very good of a class, but I didn't want him to be focusing on combat because I wanted him to actually... I picked the Skald because I wanted him to be able to hang back and use his bardic music without really doing much else, and using most of his other abilities for out of combat, which is mostly in reference to his magic and the type of magic that he has. So I did not want to have him participate like in combat with his actual magic spells, because he gets wizard spells like mages do, and mages and sorcerers do. He'll also have a very high lore value, which is part of the other reason why I picked Skald, because Blades, I think Blades and Jesters both have, no, I think Jesters are fine with both pickpockets and the other thing, but I did not want the Jester's bardic song. Part of the reason why I picked this over the Blade was just because I wanted the lore score to be as high as normal. I didn't want that to be diminished with Enwaro. So I had to give up pickpockets for it because I didn't want a standard bard, because the bardic song that standard bards gets is pretty much covered by the type of paladin that I chose. So he had to do something different. Last but not least, the party mage. Also because I have a bard in the party, I decided on a sorcerer instead of a mage or any of these specialist mages. In fact, if you, as a general it's great having a bard in the group because they level up as fast as thieves do, because mages and sorcerers level up the slowest in the game, and there are a lot of spells that they use that depend on how high a level you are, that are more advantageous, therefore, for a bard to cast. Like Dispel Magic, for example, is a very powerful spell that is more powerful in a bard's hands than any other class. There are a lot of other spells like that too. But since I have a bard in the party, I didn't feel it necessary to have like a mage, because the difference between a sorcerer and a mage is that sorcerers don't have to... Mages what mages do is that you can find spell scrolls in the game, and you can memorize them into a spell book, and eventually you can pick up every spell in the game, or at least most of them, and then you choose to prepare those spells from that list for your spells that you can cast in a day. So for example, you might have every level 1 spell available, but if you only have 4 of them that you can cast in a day, then you can pick 4 spells from that group. And then tomorrow you can pick 4 different spells from that group. Sorcerers, on the other hand, always have a certain set of spells that they know. They don't and can't memorize spells from... They don't have a spell book. Every time they level up, you just pick new spells to learn. And then you always have those. But you can cast from those spells at any time from a certain number of spell slots that you have. So, Elim, for example, right here will have 2 spell slots at level 1 and 2 spells that she knows. She knows Larlux, Minor Drain, and Shield. So she could, for example, if she's relying more on her darts that she's proficient with in a day and doesn't feel like she needs to use the Larlux spell because that's a damaging spell, then she can use it to cast Shield on herself on 2 different combats. In one combat, she can cast Shield on herself, and then for defense, and then Larlux Minor Drain twice. If she feels better protected and doesn't need to cast Shield, maybe she casts it from a scroll or something, she can cast Larlux twice then, or something like that. And, she can eventually learn way more spells than that, but that is a very simplified version of sort of the difference between a mage and a sorcerer. And the fact that I don't have to pick up scrolls is the reason why I wanted a sorcerer. And the reason why I picked Dragon Disciple over a standard sorcerer was for 2 reasons. And that is because and part of the reason why I picked sorcerer over mage is because A, they get more spells per day, and so I didn't have to rely on the game providing me with spell scrolls. I can just pick the spells that I want to know, and if I get those scrolls, I can just cast it from those scrolls eventually. So, before I add her though, I'll show you Delphan, because he is very powerful too. In fact, he's one of the most powerful characters I think I ever created, other than Jotar. I think Jotar is more powerful than him, and unlike Jotar, he can't be the party leader because his charisma is merely average. But he's great. He's great at sneaking. Stalkers have some thief abilities, like the ability to backstab. I also picked Null for him because I originally planned on having him in the party I was creating, and I had created 3 different rangers so far, but I kind of regret picking Null. But it's not a bad choice. So yeah, at level. I was planning on having him dual class at level 13 into Cleric, but, I would have had to play the game for a long time without a Cleric. So, yeah. Anyway, I do think sorcerers are good enough as a mage in the party to be able to not need, another mage in the group. But the reason why I picked Dragon Disciple over a standard sorcerer is just because I had a bard in the party. And because it does provide a lot of the benefits that you would normally get from having a Kensai dual class into a mage, like the improved armor class. They're not as good at weapons as a Kensai is, but if you're relying on your weapons when you primarily want to use your magic spells, then you've already kind of failed at being a mage. So, yeah, Dragon Disciples are okay. I wouldn't, under normal circumstances, I think, pick them over a standard sorcerer, but I made an exception this time, actually, just because I had a bard in the party. But there are a lot of benefits to it. I do think it is one of the better balanced kits available in the game. And she's proficient in darts. So, yeah. This is the party that I intend to take from 0 experience points to 8 million experience points from now until the end of the Baldur's Gate series, ideally. We'll see how things go, because it is a long trek. So I've noticed in a lot of other Let's Plays of this game that they usually just go into normal. I do know a few others did. I didn't look at any of the solo runs. I know that they've done it at probably every difficulty except for the easy ones. You know, don't feel bad if it's your first time through and you want the game to go a little bit easy on you. There's no problem with that. It's still a great way to just kind of get used to playing the game, especially if you're having a hard time getting used to the controls and how things work. It is a complicated game to learn. But I am a veteran player, and I will play with the core rules. I don't want to play it on hard, insane, and especially not Legacy of Ball, because I tend to prefer to play the game in such a way that the game is fair, but still, not putting on its kitty gloves at me. Because I know that the group I created is quite powerful, but honestly, like I was saying right at the beginning, I could have made this group a lot less powerful and still get through. It's probably going to be easier for me to get through than with a group of characters with 75 points and basic classes, but honestly, not easy enough to really justify putting all the effort into it. But I did it this way just because I'd never done it this way before.
Nestled atop the cliffs that rise from the Sword Coast, the citadel of Candlekeep houses the finest and most comprehensive collection of writings on the face of Farron. It is an imposing fortress, kept in strict isolation from the intrigues that occasionally plague the rest of the Forgotten Realms. It is secluded, highly regimented, and it is home. Within these hallowed halls of knowledge, your story begins. You have spent most of your 20 years of life within this keep's austere walls, under the tutelage of the sage Gorion. Acting as your father, he has raised you on 1,000 tales of heroes and monsters, lovers and infidels, battles and tragedies. However, one story was always left untold, that of your true heritage. You have been told that you are an orphan, but your past is largely unknown. Lately, Gorion has been growing distant from you, as if some grave matter weighs heavily on his heart. You have asked about his concerns as gently as possible, but your queries have been in vain. Your sole comfort is the knowledge that he is a wise man, and you know he will tell you when the time is right. Nonetheless, his silence is troubling, and you cannot help but feel that something is terribly wrong. Today, Gorion has appeared more agitated than ever, and now he has uncharacteristically interrupted your chores in the middle of the day, imparting hurried instructions for you to equip yourself for travel. He has handed you what gold he can spare, but given no clue as to why. Nevertheless, you now stand before the Candlekeep Inn, ready to purchase what you need for an unplanned and unexpected journey.
For the most part, these narrative interludes are very atmospheric. I honestly really like the way that this game handles that, especially given because this is an older game. This is obviously a lot easier on the game's graphics and things like that. But I really think it's much more atmospheric and plays very well to the type of game that this is and the genre that it is. Better than a lot of even modern games, but I haven't actually played a lot of very modern games like Skyrim or anything like that, and I should probably change that at some point in time. Anyway, yeah, so this is my home, Candlekeep. And yeah, there's just already I can see so many new things. I mean, I played this game before, so I'm just retraining things that I already know, but yeah, so there's a lot of things I can do before I actually set out on my main journey. This is just the prologue of the game. Actually, the first thing I'll do is I'll fix Jotar's, because in addition to resetting my biography here, which is not what I originally wrote, I will do this. And unfortunately, it won't let me edit it as well, because I'm, trying to press down. I have to go through these individually, so I'm not going to do that to erase, these little boxes here, even though it does kind of annoy the little perfectionist in me. Anyway, script. Like most characters, I want them to generally focus on ranged attacks when they first meet enemies. Because I intend to have him generally equipped with throwing axes. But everyone else will have like standard ranged weapons. He is a ranged cleric. And of course she is like ranged fighter, ranged thief, I think. Yeah, thief ranged attack. Yeah, everyone is focused in that respect, except him. And he is bard controlled because I want him to sing unless I literally tell him to do otherwise. And I want her to do nothing unless I tell her otherwise. I kind of get generally annoyed whenever whenever the AI decides to use magic, because it always relies on certain spells, which isn't necessarily bad, but I tend to prefer to, micromanage the spell casting of the party. So, yeah, we're only starting out with 100 gold pieces here, which is not nearly enough, which is more than enough to equip a single person. Not nearly enough, however, to do 6... Well, okay, it's enough to do 6 people. I've done it before. But it's very subpar, even for level 1 characters. So, we're going to go around, we're going to do chores, we're going to interact with people.
It will be done.
I should actually have him... I'll have him go down here and meet Hull. Have him go down here to the barracks. I'll eventually want to go... Thwanya will join him.
What? Tell me.
She will go up here and...
You want it? You got it.
Yeah. And Moro and Elaine will... I'll have Moro go over here, actually.
I shall attend to it in a trice.
Her, I will have go in here.
Agreed.
Greetings, young one.
Worry not.
I stand ready.
Greetings, young one. Greetings, young one.
Gorion has been looking for thee, young one.
What is
Actually,
needed?
while you're in here, I'll have you talk
Agreed.
to Firebead Elvenhair, one of the many guests here at the library fortress.
It's hard to find decent folk nowadays.
Ah, yes, I'm back within the hallowed halls of Candlekeep. With the iron crisis upon us, the trip from Baragos was more hazardous than I care to relate. You're Gorion's ward, aren't you? My, you have come into your own. If you would prevent an old man jealous of youth to say so. I left an identify scroll with Teftaril in the inner grounds. You should be done examining it by now. If you could fetch it for me, I'd be most grateful.
How may I be of assistance? You
Now
have
go
but to
find him.
ask.
He was just up here. Where'd he go? There he is. You, get back here. You have a scroll I want. Firebeard has sent you to me, doesn't he? Oh, very well. Return the scroll to him, but you must hurry and speak with Gorion. As I mentioned before, he is waiting for you at the steps of the Central Library. I assure you, child, it is a matter of the greatest urgency.
It will be done.
Actually, I'll go and speak to him and say hello.
Hey, it's me, Emmowen.
Hey, Emmowen! I'm surprised old Gorion let you away from his studies and chores, that fiddle-faddle. I snuck off too. Old Puffguts Winthrop was looking for me, but I've got all day to do his chores. You have some time for a story today? Oh, no, I can tell you don't. What have you been up to? I'm afraid I can't chat today, little one. My foster father wishes me to prepare for a journey, but would not say where. Little one? I'm not much younger than you, though you did get tall fast, relatively anyway. A journey, eh? I never get to travel except when I sneak out of here. I wish I could go out. I wish I could go with you. You? Yep, yes, sir. It would certainly be great to get out of this stuffy library. It certainly would. Oh, there's no way you can come. Grind would never allow it. Oh, I know. Old stick in the mud that he is. All worried about nothing. I'm sure. Better go now, because you got a long ways to travel. Not that I've ever snuck out to Friendly Arm and Baraghost. Nope. Nope, nothing at all. Nothing suspicious about that. Alright, thanks, bye.
You're a queer fellow.
I like her. She's one of my favorite characters in this game.
Oh, my child, I am glad I have found you.
This is very unnerving, I know, but you must trust me. It is very important that you pack your possessions so that we may leave Candlekeep immediately. Hurry, for there's no time to tarry. The keep is well protected, but not invulnerable. What could possibly harm us here? This place is a fortress and guarded beyond measure. Candlekeep is indeed a formidable obstacle for ne'er-do-wells, but it is not insurmountable. No matter how thick the mesh, at least one mosquito always finds its way through. No, my child, we must leave as soon as possible for our safety and for that of our friends here. Alright, just, I have some things to do yet, if you don't mind waiting a little longer. Alright, I'll go talk to Helm now. Hull, not Helm. Helm is somebody else. Hey kid, I woke late this morning and left my sword in the barracks before going on duty. If you want to get it for me, it's in the chest at the foot of my bed at the right side of the barracks. Quick now, before the gate warden catches me without it. You'll also find an antidote there. I think Dreppen needs one for old Nessa. Alright. So, that leads me to you two. Ah.
Right.
Indeed. I'll take that.
All right, all right.
What are you doing just standing in front of there?
Very well.
I should have joined the army.
Ugh, what a mead-filled night. That hull is just too much. Poor sap had to go man the gate this morning, too. I don't know how he does it. What can I do for you, anyways? I was just wondering if you had any errands I could run. Errands? Yeah, actually, I need a quarrel crossbow bolts if you could get some from Winthrop off at the inn. I'll reimburse you. I might even throw some coins in it too, for you, too, if you stop giving me that look. Yeah, alright.
All right, all right.
Actually, before I give Hull his thing, I will go up. I'll have him go up here.
Give it to me. Don't worry about me.
What do you need?
Lydia left one of her books in here again. It's in the hay here beside the cow. If you could run it over to her and then come back, I've got some plans for you. Very well. That is Lydia's book. Yeah, don't overlook these books. These give a lot of these are like history books and sometimes just interesting stories to read, and it really gives some depth to the game, I think. But you know, that's sort of thing isn't for everyone.
What is it this time? I shall attend to it in a trice.
Is it not by Lydia? No. Alright, it'll be you then.
I shall.
My hotel's as clean as an elven arse.
Well, hello there, young one. Come to visit your old pal Winthrop, have you? Well, don't forget the 10,000 gold piece book entrance fee as per Candlekeep's custom, don't you know? Ha! That's funny. Not really, but, you know, I gotta be nice here. Ah, just having a bit of fun with you, my friend. Them monks may be walking about with poles in their neithers, but you know, you're always welcome here in my sight. Grind did well by you, he did. So is there anything I can do for you? Some drinks? Or a room to sleep? Or anything to buy? Yes, actually. And Winthrop as well will be buying stuff later on. Actually, while I'm here, I'll buy her darts, too. They're not that expensive, and I'm going to buy them in that quantity anyway, so I might as well. Where are they? There they are. So she is actually done. I'll have her go by Gorion over
Agreed.
here just because she's done with this whole mess.
You have but to ask.
Oh, hello. Have you seen my copy of the History of Hyrule? Oh, you know how I can't stand the constant shuffling of arthritic feet up in the library, so I thought I'd get a bit of fresh air and, just east of here, and, I hate being so absent-minded, but I really do need that book back if he could find it. Yeah, I found it. My book! Oh, you remind me of Gorion when you grin like that. Raising, you has been hard on him, I know, but says it's all a toil of love, toil of destiny, even. You must be a very special child indeed to draw such praise from a man of his silent nature. Here, take this little gem of mine. Maybe Winthrop will give you a little something for it. They talk to everyone here, I think, as though they were Gorion's ward, which is actually Jotar. Although I consider these two to be students of his, the rest are friends. Although I don't think he knows Thwania as much, according to my little backstory. But whatever, it's just my story and I'm sticking to it. I really would like to keep that scroll of... you know what? Actually, I'll have him go in here.
You have but to ask.
And I'll talk to him. I'm glad to see that age has not hardened your heart towards an old man such as myself. I'll take all of your identity. No! You get one identify scroll, and just the one that I found. Allows me to cast a little spell on you. It'll protect you from the evil you might meet tonight. Ooh, and I gained an item. Gave me a potion of healing. That's very nice of him. And he casts protection from evil on Jotar, even though he's not even in the room.
I shall attend to it in a trice.
Indeed. Who's over here? He is.
Well, what do you need?
Last day, ain't it? Too bad Nessa here ain't enjoying it, though, her being sick and all. I need to get her one of them potions of antidote off Hull. He stayed up drinking last night and got hauled out of bed to man the gates early this morning, so I bet he's got a few of them lying around somewheres. Yeah. It's probably how he's been able to avoid a hangover.
What do you need?
Ah, you're a wonder there. Stick with me and we'll go right to the gates of Candlekeep. Well, anyway, just be careful out there, kid. It's quite dangerous out there. Bandits will kill you just for wearing metal armor. Indeed. Okay. And because I have this now, I'm going to have her do...
Don't worry about me.
Hello?
Oh, goody goody. I've gone and found you first. You're the ward of Gorion, are you not? No. No. Just leave me alone. I have pressing matters I must attend to. Far be it for me to keep you from pressing matters, but I must insist on a moment of time. The last moment, actually. I apologize for not fully explaining my motives as per the credo of my particular thieves guild, but I'm on a rather tight schedule, and exposition is not really my forte. You're a terrible expository thief / assassin. So much for being a fortress, I guess. You're terrible. Like, terrible. Come on, Finoa, you can do better than this. This really is like a Dungeons and Dragons game. Hasn't... His name is Shank?
You want it? You got it.
Alright, well, that's done and over with.
Don't worry about me.
I'm gonna have Thwania go up and visit later.
If you
Give him his... Yep, I said like that potion of Hull's. She's doing better already. Where's Jotar at? There you go.
It will be done.
Thanks, kiddo. Ryan didn't bring you up half bad, did he? You're lucky to have grown up here in Candlekeep, to be honest. Sometimes I think the world outside these gates has gone mad, what with the fighting over the iron shortages and all. and Baldur's Gate will be at war before the season's out, mark my words. Anywho, here's 20 gold from for saving my skin from the chief.
Our rules are very strict.
Hello there. I thought I should tell you that Gorion has been looking to talk to Jotar and all of his friends. You should talk to Gorion as soon as possible. Yeah. All right.
With ease. With ease.
Alright, and thanks, kid. I hear tell you might be leaving this place soon. Watch your back out there, okay? Here, let me give you this dagger. My father killed a hobgoblin with it once, many years ago. Stabbed him right in the back, he did. Ain't no broadsword, but it'll do in a pinch. Now, take care of yourself there, buddy.
Not a problem.
Yep, and that's why you should have a 18 charisma when you talk to people. That certainly make a difference. It netted me my first magic item right at the start of this game. Neat. So, all of you should watch yourselves carefully. There have been some strange men asking about Jotar. Yeah, thanks for just proving how impenetrable this fortress is there, buddy. Although I guess to be fair, that is not what his argument was. Anyway. Gonna need to do something here, so I need to get Jotar out of the way a little bit, because, yeah.
Right.
So, I guess no, we're not coming back here at any time soon. Don't mind if I look around here in the bunker, do you? Come on, get out of here. You don't need to be here. Go on. There you go. Get out. I've already failed. And I am out of here. Nope.
Oh, you bet.
Whew. Ah. Whew. Hey, Jotar! Jotar! Look what I bought with all of my own money. Here, have this axe. It's not much, but I bought it for you just in case you need it. Or you can sell it, you know, whatever. It was in my daddy's collection that I definitely brought with me here. Don't go in the bunker.
It will be done.
No, not that.
Have a blade with your name on it.
Yeah, you're Gorion's little whelp, ain't you? Yeah, you match the description. You don't look so dangerous to me. I am his child, if that's what you mean. Foster child. Gotta keep that straight. Right, wouldn't be the Exposition Thieves Guild if I didn't have anything to say about it. Now, your issue is your own. That's gotta get straight. It's in the books. I gotta send those books back home. You're not of his blood. You're definitely not of his blood. You ain't worth nothing if you're actually his child. Now anyway, now I know you're the right one. My ticket out of this gutter. You know, as soon as you're dead and all. Have I made myself clear? Thank you. Wow, he has a -3 penalty to his attack roll? That's just sad. Ow! That actually hurt slightly. Jerk. My axe broke. Oh at least he died. I imagine it was a very painful death. Alright, let's go.
Not a problem.
It's too bad because I can't actually sell the weapon now.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
Yep.
Don't mind me.
Sunshine. Everything feels possible on a beautiful, bright day.
It is a lovely day, isn't
Yep.
it? Oh boy.
Something on your mind?
Yeah, whatever. You know what? Let me talk to you real quick here. Hi there.
These walls contain the world's knowledge.
So are you sick? You look rather healthy to me, but you can never tell. Do you need any potions or such things? That'd be swell, thanks. Alright then, here, take this potion. Yoink. I'll take 2.
Yep.
Alright. Let's make our way up to the storehouse here. I'll stab things right quick. I'll keep those 2.
It will be done.
Oh yeah, I should have had him follow them up there. Where's... Vanilla can come over
I've
here.
got this.
It shall be as you wish.
I can go in here.
You have but to ask.
Very well.
Let's see now. This is just about everyone, isn't it? Except her. She can stay there, though. She can have girl talk with Emily.
Agreed.
Alright.
Neither
Hey guys,
can you,
I have some weapons that we can start out with here. Here's a hammer for you. I know how you like those, you rascally scamp you. I'll keep that. You can have this long sword here. Yeah, you can keep this dagger too. I have no use for it. But this, and this will all go to Jotar. Who now doesn't really have a weapon that he is particularly proficient in, but, you know, we'll use that. That's not too terrible.
With ease.
Non-proficiency penalties are rather light for your fighter type, so it's only like +2 for him, but it's higher for others.
By Moradin's hammer!
I told Yeski to clean the rats out of this building yesterday already. Hop to it! Get in there! Yep, this is a level 1 D&D adventure, alright.
Not a problem.
Nothing.
You look troubled.
Oops.
Yes?
What would you have me do?
Of course. Acting exactly like what you'd expect cats to do. Completely ambivalent toward the thing that they are actually supposed to do.
I stand ready. Not a problem. Not a problem. With ease.
Hey,
Hey there, Jotar. I see you're up early this day. Well, your father Grian asked me a strange favor. It seems he wants to test your fighting ability a little bit to be sure that you'll be okay out there. I know you've been in the guard for a while now, but this will be good, I think, but it'll be good just to test your resolve, I guess. During the fight, I might spring a little surprise on you. Just remember to keep on the lookout, alright? You never know what kind of surprises you'll get out in the wild. Come on, attack him! That's actually fairly terrible. You did good, kid, especially after Eric started firing those arrows at you. I'm sure your father would be proud. You should go talk to the gate warden if you want some experience in fighting with a group of people. You'll find him to the south of here. Out there, it can be pretty important to know how to fight with allies at your side. I don't think the game will let me since I already have a full group with me, but...
Be done.
That reminds me. Yes. Yeah. Alright, I think we're done with everything out here.
Not a problem.
Done with everything in there.
Please.
Not quite,
Oh,
actually.
you bet.
I'll join up with you guys in a minute.
Yep.
Another hammer. That seems to be sitting pretty, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It will be done.
Yep, definitely clear of burglars and other assassins. Awful as though they might be.
With ease.
Alright. This whole group will go in here to chat for a bit. He will join them.
I shall attend to it in a trice.
Oh, let's talk to these two. Intriguing.
Yep.
You
No
have but
time
to
for
ask.
chit-chat.
Step up to the heat, young one. You'll need a good fire to warm the chill stares of those monks. Most inhospitable they are. Isn't that so, lovey? Oh, yes, darling. They are most standoffish. Yeah, well, they are monks. They are pretty cloistered. You are dressed rather colorfully compared to them. Colorful? Dear, perhaps we should dress a little more plainly to fit in. It's worth a try, dear. Although our clothes may only be the half of it, they certainly couldn't react any worse than they have. Thank you for your suggestion, Jotar, and for putting it tactfully. Good eve to you. Indeed. If your charisma was low enough, I think there would have been much worse
Oh, you
choices
bet.
there or something like that.
Yes?
Alright.
It will be done.
So,
Yep.
we're just going to take a quick trip upstairs. I will be right back. I have some things that I have at the inn.
Yep.
Oh, people and their valuables. Ooh. Spiffy. Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I have so many points in lockpick at this level. This item. Hi there. Just one moment. Just making sure. All right. Good. Bye.
I should have joined the army.
Right.
We should buy our things and get out of here pretty quick.
With ease.
Let's see now. Do you know anything about... Oh, +1 dagger. You know what? Actually, I think I will sell that for money. I've been thinking of keeping it for Delania, but they're not that uncommon, actually. I'll let you keep these. I'll give that to him. Give that to him as well. Yeah, and now we will buy equipment. Let's see now. Alright, we're good.
With ease.
My hotel's as clean as an elven arse.
It's good to see you again as any other I would have laid eyes on. Make yourself as comfortable as you wish. If you need anything, just let me know. Okay, 150 gold. The reason why I want to sell it instead of keeping it is just because of potions that I want to buy later on. Indeed. So yeah, that'll be his ranged weapon. Eventually I'll probably even give him proficiency in dagger as well. So, what else do we need? A spear. It's good for him to have multiple weapons because, as you can see, some of them will break. Yeah, and that is how you very thoroughly and well equip a character. As for Romank, he already has a hammer, so I don't need to give him a good melee weapon at all. I do need to give him a sling. Plenty of bullets. No, not that many. There we go. Decent armor. A good heavy wooden shield. And a helmet. It's good to have those helmets. And her. She'll want a helmet. She can only wear up the studded leather. And she'll need a short sword because she already has a long sword. She'll need a halberd. And she will take this nice, nifty composite longbow. Yeah, it is quite a bit stronger than the standard one, and it requires an 18 strength. And but it gives her a +2 to damage. I think that's everything. Yeah. Let's see, she already has a dagger. So what she needs is a short bow. I think that's all she can get, since she already has a dagger. And him. No, I wanted it. Also give you a buckler. I'll give you this buckler. You can also steal, but you're only good with that if you have a decent pickpocket score, which she does not have. I don't think either of them are able to use helmets. Alright, so we'll give him a buckler. Slightly different because he wants to be a little bit different. And he'll eventually be able to use heavy crossbows, but his strength is too low right now. Excuse me, which is too bad. Because he has an 11 strength. I'll give him a ninja 2. That should be fine. And that is it, I think. Alright, I'll give you that one. That one. Oh, I forgot to sell that. Although I do have him with a ranged weapon script, I do consider his two-handed sword his primary weapon. And Ramonk will have the best armor class by a fair margin, so he is actually well suited to be up in front. Initially, I wanted my second primary fighter to do that. I went because I was going to include a dwarven defender, but I couldn't make it work. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a bunch of other different ideas when I eventually do Icewind Dale. So I bought Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition along with all of this as well. Which I've never actually played. So maybe I'll get to it at some point in time. Alright. So yeah, as you can see, my group is very well equipped. The wizard spells I don't have been disabled. Alright, we're all good.
Right.
Let's start heading
It will
out.
be done.
Actually,
With ease.
everyone but Jotar will head here. Jotar will head over here.
With ease.
What's the story? Oh, you bet.
Oh, it's just a dagger.
Right.
Completely worthless. Alright, I'm ready to get out of here before the the guard here catches on to me. Actually, everyone should be up here.
Not a problem.
Actually, hold on. I do want her to go back because those items I still want to...
Yes?
You know what? Forget it.
It will be done.
Sell them later. Won't be that much money. Although if it means the difference between having a potion and not having a potion, I will go and sell it. This is too bad I can't get rid of these. Alright, everyone gather around for our potions.
With ease.
These walls contain the world's knowledge.
Yeah. Good enough for me. I don't think it would have made a difference, so we're good. I'll give one to you. He is Jotar is immune to poison, so it'll be. I want to give one of these to each of you. And just because you have a cure spell doesn't mean you can't use a cure potion. Indeed. We are good, I think, or at least as good as we can get. Alright. We are finished.
Not a
Ready
problem.
to set out on an adventure. Alright, Brian, my longtime friends and I are ready to set out into the world. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh well.
It will be done.
This is very unnerving, I know, but you must trust me. It is very important that you pack your possessions so that we may leave Candlekeep. Yes, I'm ready to go now. 2 people have already tried to kill me. So this... calling it a fortress is just
carefully.
lies.
If we ever become separated, it is imperative that you make your way to the Friendly Arm Inn. There you will meet Khalid and Jahira. They have long been my friends, and you can trust them. Let's hurry, child. The night can only get worse, so we must find shelter soon. Don't worry. I'll explain everything as soon as there is time.
Good.
Wait, there is something wrong. We are in an ambush. Prepare yourself.
You're perceptive for an old man. You know why I'm here. Hand over your ward and no one will be hurt. If you resist, it shall be a waste of your life.
He was the one from the intro.
You're a fool if you believe I would trust your benevolence. Step aside and you and your lackeys will be unhurt.
But he's just an old man. What can he do?
I'm sorry that you feel that way, old man.
Oh boy. Ow.
Manus potentis
And he's dead. I've been officially Batman.
Especially cruel this morning. You awake with the realization that you have not been living some horrible dream. Ambushed, you saw Gorion cut down before your eyes, and even his powerful magic could not stop the onslaught. It was his wish that you flee, but that does not remove the feeling of helplessness that now overwhelms you. Hand over your ward, the armored fiend had said. He was after you and you alone, but why? If only Gorion had given some clue. But now you are alone and lost. Candlekeep is near, but you will find no quarter there. The readers pay for their serenity with rather draconian entry rules, and without Gorion's influence, their doors will remain closed. You will not last long on your own with your meager equipment. Perhaps you can get some help from the friends Gorion mentioned, the ones at the Friendly Arm.
Indeed. And...
Hey, it's me,
Hey!
Imoen.
sorry I followed you, but I never get out of Candlekeep, and those monks are such a bore. Never any decent coin in their pockets, neither. I saw what happened, though. I'm so sorry. I kind of figured something bad might happen out there. How could you have known? Well, I might have accidentally read a few things on his desk, and it might be with him still. Anyway, I'm not going to let you wander around out here all alone. Never let a frown down, sir. Stick with you until you say otherwise, I will. Ooh, see, if you were playing the game normally, this would be when you could recruit her into your group, and she is the best thief in the party. I mean, that you can get in the game. She is good aligned, which means if you're an evil bastard, she will not follow you, but, you know. Unfortunately, I already have a thief in my party. Just like that? We were friends and everything. Been friends for years, I guess. I guess I'll just wait till you need me again. Because you will! Just wait and see. I really like her, too. Well, anyway. It's been fun. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll hope to see you next time. Thanks. Take care, and good luck. Goodbye. And things.